Upper Left Barrel Racing Podcast is brought to you by Washington State Barrel Racing Incentives.
We are here to provide you with unique stories, pertinent information, and all things Northwest Barrel Racing.
WSBRI is supported by Tight Joints Plus. They have been in the process of development for over 20 years, and the ingredients are backed by years of research. Tight Joints Plus is helping support the healthy joint, maintain flexibility, improve the viscosity of the synovial fluid, and alleviate discomfort associated with daily exercise and training. Another one of WSBRI's wonderful sponsors is Evergreen Equine Veterinary Practice. EEV is now offering stud and brood mare programs at a brand new reproduction center located in Savannah, Washington. They can provide a la carte or a full menu of services in a state-of-the-art facility, a full lab for flushing and preparing embryos for transfer or shipment, a clean, controlled, comfortable environment for stallion collection, fresh and frozen semen storing, shipping and management of equine sperm, and artificial insemination.
So I think this is the coolest thing that our first guests are also starting an incentive. I think that's so cool. And you guys, I know are more a breeding incentive. Can you tell, well, first, we'll introduce you. I think what's lacking in the bigger incentives is we don't know who's running this and who's collecting our money.
I literally texted her the other day and I was like, so I've been looking it up. I was kind of digging deep. And I was like, I can't find who owns the Ruby Buckle. I can't find a name for the people that run it. And I texted her and I was like, do you know? And she was like, somebody must know. And I was like,
I know how to find out, but I don't really care that much. But
yeah.
She had a good point. I'm like, yeah, who is running this?
Yeah.
We just have faith in the amount of money they're bragging about, pretty much, right? And so I'm excited to introduce you guys and put some names and faces and stories behind the incentive itself. So, Lexie, I guess we can start with you. Kind of tell us your background and family history in barrel racing, and then Rachelle will jump to you.
Okay. My whole life, that's what we were raised to do. I mean, my dad's a team roper. He made the NFR a few times, and he's won the circuit. And so from the time I was a little kid, all we were doing is going to barrel racings and ropings. My mom roped. She used to jump horses. They're from the movie industry. So my grandpa had horses for the movies, and that's where they originally got their start. And my mom's dad was a movie director. So they kind of they did stunts, and they were in the background of the movie business their whole life. And then when we were raised to just do the horse thing, and we've worked our butts off to try to, have horses that we can perform on ourselves and not have to buy someone else's horses. And I think that's kind of where we want to go with the incentive too.
And Rachelle, will you introduce yourself? And I don't know you at all, so this is really exciting for me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I think I've probably crossed paths with you at some of the races in Washington and, in the past, but it's always those big races. So I'm Rachelle, and I own my own breeding program. I started out small. Basically, I started out when the recession hit and people couldn't feed their horses, and I leased mares and got lucky that way. And then I bought some of my own mares. And really well bred. I kind of follow bloodlines, and I like conformation. That's kind of I definitely look at conformation. And so I started a small program, and so my oldest full crop is 10 right now this year. So I've been in it a little bit. I started breeding to stallions that I knew were being promoted well, and I just basically then the pink and the ruby buckle launched, and then I was sitting on a whole bunch of horses that were pink and ruby buckle, and that kind of made me have to sell some. I couldn't keep up with the pay, I don't want to keep up with the payments. I can't travel to Oklahoma, so that was kind of where things went with that. And I was at the point where I was like, do I quit breeding horses? My repro vet passed away here, and but no, I'm crazy. So I messaged my friend, and she offered to sell me her stallions. So I bought first down French and then kind of started adding back to my broodmare band, and it kind of went from there. So I had already had some babies from him when I bred to him years ago, and then I've been training the ones that I've kept, and so it's been a good run. I've met tons of people in the industry, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the networking part and learning more about the ins and outs of everything. So Lexie is definitely the one that has the rodeo experience on this end. I've been more of going to all the incentive type races, learning about those, and then we've been talking about doing this incentive for over a year. Just basically, like, what we've realized is that there's just a ton of travel involved in going to Texas and Oklahoma, where a lot of the stuff is being held. And why can't we have those kind of events here? So that's kind of where this all came about. And knowing that we have a smaller program, and there's a lot of us out here in the West that do, this program is going to benefit the people that train their own horses. Like I've told Lexie, I'm probably one of the only ones out here that has a stallion, and I breed my own mares, and I train and I ride my own stuff, and have a stallion that's in these incentives. And without having another trainer running my horse and that kind of thing, it's definitely time consuming and cost intuitive. Like, there's a lot of costs that are involved when you're paying your stallion into incentives, and you're having to pay the babies in the incentives, and you pay the vets to do all the breeding work, and you full out the babies on your own. It's all part of this huge plan, and I love it, but it takes its toll when you think about all the people that maybe just own a stallion or own the brood mares. They don't try to do it all. So we're trying to make it so that the people out here that do that have a chance at not feeling like their life savings is being dwindled away by paying into these huge incentives. So we try to make this program very affordable.
Yeah. So I looked into it. I am not a stallion owner. I'm a mare owner. I have a mare I really love. That's 4th generation for my family, and she's retired now, and it's her new job to make babies, So this program really appealed to me because I'm the mare owner in this instance. I'm not the stallion owner. I have a few babies coming up that are pink and ruby and all that, but like, I almost need to set reminders for myself for who I've paid in, who's due, what's up. And also I've found you have to keep checking in, like, what's been added to that stallion's list of incentives. I have to be on Sly by Design Facebook groups and to keep up with what's new for him. And so it's a whole world, and
It definitely is.
It's crazy. So I'm excited. I feel like because you guys are both kind of in the Northwest, maybe this will benefit the Northwest a lot. And that excites me as a mare owner and a competitor on these babies. So,
well, and that's one thing that I've been talking to people, and they're like, where are you based out of? And it's like, yeah, people do get worried. Are you going to run to Texas with this, kind of thing? And we aren't. And we've picked a good location that's pretty central to the West, which is Reno, for our annual event, which we hope, everyone can make that. So that's just kind of our idea, is that, we know a lot of people that can run at all these incentives in the Midwest. And so we're trying to make something similar here.
Are we muted? No.
Nope, we're
Okay.
good.
Sorry. So I wanted to touch on that and say, like, it's a business. Starting this incentive program is 100% a business. You guys have to make decisions best for the business. And we get that. And starting our own incentive, I have more sympathy for these incentives that have kind of given up on the North. I don't want to say given up. They might come back, but this year it felt like they gave up on the Northwest. And I get it. It was a business decision, but it's definitely going to make me more hesitant to send my money to people I don't know. And to send, I'm like, okay, well, that I paid $800 for my Ruby Buckle baby, and now I'm going to have to spend $1,000 in fuel just to get down to an event he's eligible for. This doesn't feel like common sense here for me. Anyways, so that's that was what spurred that question. And I love that you guys live up here. And I feel like, yeah, I know the money's down there right now, but hopefully if we all get together, we can change that.
We can turn it around.
We can turn that around.
Bring the
So,
money to the Northwest.
Yes.
Because we need it.
And I feel like, and Lindsay, you know this, you've made the circuit finals. You had an amazing horse that won Pendleton over and over again, and no one could beat him. There are some super nice horses in the Northwest here. A lot of them make rodeo horses because that's what we have. And we would like it to go. So we're adding side pot money to the rodeos too, not just the 40s. It'll be a little bit less, and we're able to do a little bit more with the rodeos because only will pay a 1D. But I think it'll give like an incentive when, you know how hard it is to win a checkup here. You know, this summer you had to run a 17-2 or 17-1 at Walla Walla to get
oh yeah, the rodeo girls know the value of coming up to the Northwest to compete.
Yeah, they do.
Ones, and they're a minority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have some super tough horses. I don't, you know, and we have girls that are still trying to compete running 17-6s, 17-4s, 17-5s, which is over and over consistent. But what if, what if we could pay back to those girls too, you know? And I feel like that's where we kind of want to like incentivize it, where the rodeos that have the good ground and want to work with people are open. The girls could go there and still win a check with our incentive, or they can go to a jackpot up here. Maybe the horse that they have is out of a really great mare and the stallion isn't in the incentive. And that's kind of like, we're trying to think outside the box here, you know?
Love that. And so something you just said, you said rodeos that care about the ground and the barrel races. Yeah. Are you guys going to cater to those rodeos?
Yeah, that's what's on my list. It's not going to be like the ones that are where it's a surprise. There's been a lot of those. Like there were broken hawks up in the Northwest, several broken hawks.
That's not good.
And I don't want to incentivize those rodeos. I want the ones that want to work with you, the ones that want to make it right. Mm-hmm. Those are the ones we're going for.
Oh my gosh, I love that. If everybody listening doesn't want to give these girls your money just based on that, like that's wonderful. We love that so much. Oh, cool. So tell us, like, what was the first conversation about this incentive? Like what made you guys be willing to take this on, I guess?
Go ahead. I think we would message on Facebook a lot, and we're just like, what about all these mare owners? Like, we were just so frustrated by, you kind of have to sell your horses to get money back in the breeding business. Rachelle, do you think that was?
Yeah, mostly because, like I explained earlier, I'm on all sides of this. I compete. I have the mares. I have to pay the incentives on the stallion and the foal side. And I've bred to other I've done all these other great stallions. I love it. I love the incentives. But what I think is and was the real final straw is all the people that don't feel like the Northwest is worth having anything, or the West Coast is worth having anything out here. And we've already paid all that money in, right? Like, they have our money. They can do it by demographics. They can see who's paid, what states have, and the lowest is out here probably because of the travel now. And like, if you're limiting what events are on the West Coast, there's going to be less people breeding to those stallions and able to, basically afford to go there. So I feel like if that's how they've tailored it, then we need to kind of step up. So we've been talking about it. And then of course there's, new things that happen, and we would just be like, wow, really? We're getting cut out again, and that was where we were like, okay, there's definitely a need for it out here. And most people can't take 10 days off to drive to Oklahoma and back. That's where, as me, doing the foaling out, and I do have options to take mares if I was to be gone, but there's also a lot of other entities that go hand in hand with having this many horses. And so of course we'd all like to go to Guthrie, but it's not feasible for everyone. And like you just mentioned, you paid $800 in, which is probably 4 years, right?
Mhm.
And that's just if you want to pay the pink buckle. So you're paying 800 for ruby buckle too. So you're at 1600. That's not your entries or anything like that. And we like the incentives where it's a one-time entry. So you're one and done. I still like wake up thinking, did I pay that horse in? You know, I mean, I literally, my brain doesn't shut off. I think about these things all the time, and I try to do it all at the same time and everything, but had 4 foals this last year, and I had some horses that I sold, and I always say I'm selling unpaid into these things. And so it is definitely something that you're always thinking about, but if it can be just like a one and done, it's easier, in my opinion. So
No, you're absolutely right. I agree with that completely. And yeah, I've paid in, gosh, you have to start paying hoping your horse is still alive in 5 years so that you
Yeah.
can go run at that, every
Yes.
year. And so much can happen, as you guys know. Okay. So I love learning all about both of you, all of that. I didn't know any of that. Now let's talk about your program. The coolest thing, obviously, the thing that's going to jump off the page to a lot of people is that a mare can be paid into this. But go ahead. Do you want to give us like an outline of it, or we do have a bunch of questions we can ask based on the reading I've done on your website, but I'd love to hear it from you. Or Kaylee, do you have questions about it?
So I want to hear all about it because I actually don't know much, and I didn't know you could pay a mare into it, and I think that's amazing. But I think maybe our audience kind of ranges from maybe somebody who just started barrel racing to somebody who is involved in all of these big incentive programs. So kind of maybe in layman's terms, describe, how would somebody pay into your program? What are their options? That kind of thing. Give us kind of a, like I'm a third grader.
Rachelle is good for this because she has kids and I don't.
Okay, so there's so we did it so that the stallion and the mare owners can both pay in. And what this allows is mare owners, Lindsay, you know this, if you had a stallion, you choose different stallions every year, maybe to breed your really good mare, then all those babies are now eligible because they're out of the mare that you paid into the incentive. So it's not going to limit bloodlines. We're not going to put a cap on, we're only taking 50 mares and that kind of thing. But that's just to allow that, this is open to the world. We're not limiting, anything on that side of it. So with that being said, the mare owners, they can pay in, and then any of the babies, if you own them or someone else owns them, they can pay in. It's $250. Then it's a one-time fee. Then they're eligible to run at any of our events, which our events are going to be throughout the West Coast. And same with the stallions, but we're doing auctions. So the stallions can pay in at $2,500, and you will not have to pay anything else other than that. But if you want to enroll in the auction, we can set you up. And what we did was, because everything's so expensive nowadays, that we're going to allow the stallion to be in the auction. If he sells for $1,250 in the auction, his remaining balance would be $1,250 to meet the $2,500. So you'll owe that balance. So it's by April 1st. So our auction's from March 1st to the 15th. And then that way it's not a huge cost to the stallion owner. We already have all these other costs. You're probably boarding, you're, keeping him somewhere to keep, for breeding season and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a great incentive, and everyone has to pay the same amount. So it's not going to be structured where, one horse, his stud fee only sold for $1,000 in the auction and someone else brought in $2,500. The $1,000 one would still owe the $1,500, so that the program is even, if that makes sense. And that way we can project how much we can pay out. Like you said, it's a business. So we're trying to make sure that all of our costs and everything are covered, and where we can side pot all these races, that's where the money's going. And we are going to be paying out at the side pots, 70% goes to the owner, 20% goes to the stallion or the mare, and 10% will go to the breeder. So it's a good, we've done the formulas. We've talked to so many people. We got so much interaction with this, good, bad, indifferent, before we launched it. And there was tweaks that we did towards the end. It was just a matter of trying to come up with something that the breeder should get some accolades, right? I mean, you know, you work hard at that. So we wanted to include the breeder in the payout. And then our annual event, it'll be structured just a little bit different, but it's going to have a lot more money. So there's going to be a lot more money there to win. And that's just still in the works. With what we have rolled out right now, we're hoping that we can gain enough interest and have really big payouts. So
yeah, we're hoping for 300,000 in Reno for, you know, to pay out, and we would love to have 300,000 added. We're looking for sponsors because we don't want to put this all on the stallion or mare owner, which is what Pink and Ruby and everyone else, every other incentive we've noticed has done that. We don't want to be like, we want to be different. Like we've always said that we want to be different. We want to do something different. We want to try to get the sponsors in Reno and have a great race there. We know the ground is great. They used to have those American West races. I think I went down a couple of times. I know Mike put them on, and they had like a fraternity derby there. And we kind of want to go with that. And I think Rachelle forgot to mention, we're also having an embryo auction in August. So same thing with the mare as with the stallion. It's $1,200 to pay in a mare. And the embryo auction is going to be a little bit different because we're not really taking anything back from it other than the $1,200 and an auction fee. So anything above that, the mare owner gets back. So we pay them back. And we've seen a lot of like ads on Facebook where people are trying to sell their embryos, they're trying to sell their eggs, and they can't seem to do it. And so we plan on marketing the mares just like we do the stallions, but like we're going to go even harder at it because we know that people want to sell, they want to get their babies out there. They have a mare that was a performer and they want to sell their program to people. And we love that. And we want to give back to them.
And we feel like there's a market for the embryos. So Lindsay, let's just say that you wanted to flush your mare more than once and sell an embryo in the auction. And what that means is that you would just be able to have your mare paid in for the year based on her embryo selling in the auction. So the $1,200 comes off that. Most of everyone that we're going to recommend that you start out at minimum to $2,500 on your embryo. The auction's September 1st through the 25th this year. And so basically it's going to give a lot of people a chance to look at all the embryos that are in. And if, let's just say, if you were to sell yours, then all the logistics is in that paperwork. So if you have it, you know, whatever stud, like wherever, if you went to Outback, let's say, and all that would be in there, and that you did the heartbeat check, and you know where the recent mare has to go back, and all those things are in there. It's set up like that, and that is more complicated, obviously, but we're just trying to shorten it up for you. So we did include all that stuff in there.
So the selling embryos thing, that's like, if you've done it, you know more about it. If you haven't done it, you're like, I don't even know what to price this embryo at. So it kind of sounds like you're going to be spreading a lot of knowledge about that possibility for mare owners. And I mean, nowadays talking about the price of something is such a, like, nobody will admit anything when it comes to the price, you know, what they got for an embryo, what they're pricing their embryo at. None of that is out there for people to see. I finally saw a post or something where someone said 10% of that horse's life, that mare's lifetime earnings is what that embryo is worth just for the mare. And then you add the stallion, you know, whatever. But so that's exciting. I think that's going to really impact the
whole breeding world.
Yeah.
I mean, like the breeding world right now is crazy to me. And I am not nearly as in it as you guys and Lindsay, and I'm kind of a newbie, but it's just crazy to me, the difference between the breeding and the horses like 10, 20 years ago in the barrel racing world and now. And I think that there's so many great stallions out there that you can breed your horse to. I mean, it's hard to choose, but now if you're going to add mares into that, like you can choose the mare and the stallion. You can choose just the mare if you want to. Like, that just blows my mind. My mind is blown right now. So, but I think that's really cool. And I think that this is going to grow not only the Northwest barrel racing industry, but just because this is an idea that I've never heard before, and I can imagine that most of our listeners have never heard before. And really the stallion incentive world, I mean, maybe people have like thrown it around, but nobody has been brave enough to come out and do it like you guys are doing. So
yeah, that's really cool. So I had a question. I saw on your website, mare and embryo auction. Are you giving a place to sell mares too?
If they choose to, they could, but it's really just a mare embryo auction.
Got it. Okay, so maybe I read that wrong, but I just wanted clarification. Okay, so now let's like explain. A lot of stallion owners know how to pay into a stallion incentive.
Mhm.
This is new for mare owners, and then this is also new for people that might own a baby that the mare has been paid into. So what does, if my horse's mom or dad has been paid into your incentive, what do I do
Mhm.
as, you know, the rider? If I
We
want,
we have nomination forms on the website. So everything is on the website. There's PDFs to either mail in, and it's just a one-time fee for the lifetime of the horse, or you can do it online on the website and it automatically enrolls you. And the same thing with like any mare or stallion that wants to be in the program. There are links on the website that you can do online, or you can send in a paper form too.
and then my other question is, you guys are having side pots. Is there entry fees to the side pots?
Rachelle.
Yeah, so we are still on we're working on the back end of that, which potentially there might be a small fee. Basically there is hope that we can link it to Saddlebook, and so there will be a small fee through Saddlebook. Obviously we have to cover expenses on the back end. And so in that case, if we can get it linked up with Saddlebook, it'll be very helpful with the producers that are already using Saddlebook, and it'll be on our website. So there'll be links to just very easily get your horse signed up for that side pot. And so obviously we want to keep the cost low, but there's, as you all know, if you've put on a barrel race, there's tons of fees with using any of these apps and credit cards and that kind of thing that come through. We've noticed, because we've been producing races over here, that even the changes since the beginning of the year with Venmo and that kind of thing, they're really strict, and they're actually just putting the fees on there, so you don't really have a say.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, it's getting it, the easier things make things, the more expensive, the more, yeah, that's added on. We're learning that too.
Yeah, the hard way.
Yeah. So, but for the is it a finals, or is it just the big race? It's just a big race. Okay.
An annual race.
Yeah. Reno is a wonderful location for someone that's never been there. Like, for sure, you need to go if you have the chance. So that's very exciting. We love Reno. There's an entry fee to go to Reno. Yes. Okay. So
It's open to anyone, and then the incentive horses will they'll just be the ones running for a ton of money.
the incentive money. Oh, so kind of like let's say Valley Girls, the futurity is open to everybody, but there's kind of a stallion side pot. Is that going to be that format?
Yep.
So it's not
Exactly.
just for horses. That
We want you to be able to bring maybe a horse that's not even paid in and be able to steal.
That's
That's why it's going to be called our annual event. It's not a finals. It's definitely going to be just we're numbers people. We like to go big. We want to be able to like tell you that you can bring a horse that maybe isn't in the incentive if you want to, and it's kind of it's our mission not to be restricting bloodlines and restricting what you enjoy to do. So
that's awesome. So that event is going to be a big thing for sponsors too. Like you could have sponsors fill, it could be big. That's awesome. So that's definitely, if potential sponsors, you guys are offering them a great opportunity there.
So, and people can come if they don't, say I have a futurity horse that's not paid into your incentive, I could come and still run in the futurity. I'm just not in the side pot.
Or is it not a futurity?
Is it just an open?
That's a good question.
we plan to do a futurity derby and an open.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And we will have extra awards for our incentive horses. Like basically like the high money earner for the year in the incentive will be adding later incentive for the basically like the stallion auction and embryo auction horses that result from that. And so it's going to keep growing, and we have more things that we'll be adding, more events that we'll be adding this year. Obviously we have to, it's like you said, a business. So we're just picking quite a few events that we know are going to work. And then hopefully in the future, we'll be able to add more money to those and add more events.
So yeah, that's great. The first year is kind of all about proving yourself with something like this. And then I think it's just going to go crazy. That's awesome.
I think your idea with the including mares in it just as much as you're including stallions is just like, I don't know.
You're
opening a huge door in the breeding world that I think a lot of people didn't know that the barrel horse breeding world could really get any bigger than it has. And it's going to be because of you guys. So that's really cool.
That is really cool. So I've just written down some things based on your website, some questions I had. Black label means they're not in the auction, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that mare owner has paid the full fee every year.
They paid the $1,200 for the mare and the $2,500 for the stallion. So in this situation, we've already had stallions starting to enroll. One is a futurity horse this year that they aren't going to collect. They don't have any frozen collected on him. So they just paid him in the black label because they don't want to offer him to the public this year. So in the future, you know, they can put him in the auction. We're not going to say, no, you can't be in the auction now, or, you know, vice versa. If you wanted to be in the auction this year, you could be in the black label in the future. So it's just a matter of, like I said earlier, it's a straight across the board payment. With the stallions though, after we have 50 enrolled, the fee goes up to 3,000. So if you don't get in at the grandfathered, same with the mares. It's 1,200 for the first 50 mares. And then after the first 50, it goes up to 1,500. So there's a little bit of an incentive to get in now at the growing stage, and then it'll go up a little bit.
So I have a question about your stallion auction, because this is happening to me as a mare owner. If I'm not buying a breeding contract in October, I might not get one. Are you guys planning in the future to move that auction like closer to, you know what I mean? Because you have high-end stallions, so I'm sure your contracts go faster than everybody else's. And if I'm a mare owner and I really want to breed your stallion, I might not risk waiting for the auction.
Well, and yes, that's true. And then also, I feel like with the auctions that you have to come up with the money right then, right? And whereas if you book to him, you could just pay the booking and you can pay when you're ready to breed. So there's different things with being on the flip side of the auctions, and there's no guarantee that the auction is going to be cheaper than the stud fee, you know, especially like you said, if there's already stallion booked full, his breedings are going to go for more generally in an auction. So that's true. And we would like to move it up this year. We're rolling everything out. The mare embryo auction is probably a little bit later this year than it's going to be in the future. We'll probably move it up to August, and then we'll probably move the stallion auction to January next year. I know that it's hard because, like you just said, in October is when a lot of people are looking. There's early booking discounts in that time frame too, and but with everything going on, I believe it'll be easier to move it up next year. But this year we're kind of waiting to roll out the website, and our hands were tied.
Yeah. We actually, I think the end of October, we were like, we really need to get working on this. Like, we have some really great ideas. And then kind of November, we were like, we should really do it. I want to get started on that website. And then December hit and shit hit the fan. And we just were like, let's do it now. Well, we have this in our head. We have to get it out there.
It sounds like we kind of had the same main event kick off our programs, because it was about the same time we were like, shit hit the fan. we were like, we got to start something new. We got to bring people up here. At least bring their attention up here. You know? Well,
and let's face it, the price of fuel for the next little bit is going to be extraordinary. So we are trying to help with that, offset those costs. And we all know running a competitive horse, what that takes, and how much money that you spend. And we just want to see a bigger payout. That's what we're looking for with the rodeo side of it, and the 40, which is why we felt like these were the ones that needed the side pots. So we'd like to grow it for sure. I mean, I think that
I love that. I did have a question real quick to jump in. What events? I know you said rodeos. I know you said Reno. Are 40s going to have your side pots too?
yes.
Okay, cool. And those will be the bigger ones, or have you decided which ones? Or
Lexie, do you want to go over the ones that we have confirmed right now?
Yeah, I have a list. So we actually, this week has all been about talking to race producers, we really want to sell our program and tell them what we're about, because we're super passionate about it. And we had a Zoom meeting yesterday with Braille Horse News and Bailey Nargang, and we talked about side potting the Vegas race, some stuff in California that she's doing. We've talked to Bobo to do like PGW and the Sand Cup. I don't think the Sand Cup will happen this year. I think it'll be next year. And I think PGW will happen this year. And we've talked to the race producers in Utah that put on really great races. Bobo puts one on in Hermiston. I don't think that'll happen this year. I think it'll happen next year. We talked with Serena Moat, and she has that really great race in Vancouver, and she's super great to work with. They're honest people. I mean, they really want to help us too. So I think we're going to side pot that race. There's the Red Rocket Fraternity in Utah. We've talked to Idaho. We have a list. We are trying to talk with Royal Crown to see if we could side pot something up there too, because we know that a lot of these horses through the Royal Crown are also potentially going to want to run out our money too in Reno.
What about, you missed California, Nevada?
No, I said California. We did the Myrna, right?
Yeah.
And then Nevada, we've talked to Lita.
We have a couple more in California.
Yeah.
And then we hope to put on a event in Oregon. We've talked to a producer here, but they have their own stallion-incentive they're launching, so they weren't really keen on having our side pot there. But we might end up putting on an event before the circuit finals in October at the Redmond Expo, and we would side pot that. So we are trying to keep it so that if you guys wanted to you could make a lot of our events. Actually, we're trying to stagger them across, the whole year. So it's not just bam, bam, bam. Because I do feel like we're rich in races in the springtime here, and then it's kind of fizzles. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's true. That all sounds great. I like that you guys are putting out the list before you're asking for money, because I mean, a lot of those that you named, my mare has a baby out there running right now and might be at those. So it definitely makes more sense for me to nominate her this year than wait till next year.
WSBRI is also supported by Biostar. They empower dog and horse owners with 100% authentic nutrition and supplements. Their wide range of supplements, treats, and poultices made of real ingredients are formulated with the whole body in mind. They are passionate about the health of your animals as well as the planet and guarantee each of their products. WSBRI is also sponsored by the Bony Pony. Whether you're looking to outfit your horse, yourself, or your farm, come take a look at what they have and meet their friendly staff. They have in stock English and Western apparel, saddles, tack and gifts, as well as home decor, blankets, footwear, and general horse supplies, and lots more.
The last question I had is if you could give us when do they need to be enrolled by? Mares and babies, I guess. All of them.
We made it yearly March 1st.
Okay.
This year it's until October 1st, because we know it's going to take a while to get this thing going. And our event is November 1st. So we want to kind of like promote Reno and get people paid in before that. If the stallion pays in November, I mean, you're not going to have your payment due until the next March. You know what I mean? So we're giving people time to get started on this.
Okay, cool. And then nominations are due March 1st or prior to competition. Is there a late fee if you're after March 1st?
Yes, I mean, so we're talking next year, March 1st.
Okay.
Because this year we're giving till October 1st. So we're doing a full circle. Like we have to kind of think about, we have to get these nominations in for them to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you wanted to compete at a side pot in this April, you do have to pay before you compete.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense. So you are having the Reno event this year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so exciting.
That is so exciting.
Yeah, we're about to sign the contract on it. We really wanted to do it the end of October because we feel like it's after the circuit finals up here. It's after a lot of events, big events up here. People still have their horses in shape. That's what we wanted. Yeah, the weather is still pretty nice. I think it'll still be nice the first weekend in November in Reno. Mm-hmm. But we talked to Reno, and so a lot of our struggle, even with producing races, has been when the fairgrounds will be ready. Mm-hmm. So they have one stall cleaner, and they have ACTRA the second or third weekend of October. But they said that their stall cleaner can only clean, one stall or 20 stalls a day. So event wouldn't be ready by end of October. So we've tried to really work with them and try to get it going, and we can't move it. So we're about to sign the contract on that the first weekend in November, and it should be really great.
That's a great time. Will you guys have any type of horse sale in the future like some of these other incentives do?
We've talked about it.
We have talked about it. I would be leaning more towards moving our event to September in the future. And I think you'd be able to have your horse fitted and still slick in September. It'd be a little harder in November this year. Definitely not going to try to add that to our plate this year. So. No,
I was just wondering, that's just something we see a lot. So there must be a reason these incentives do that. So I was just asking for you guys. Okay, cool. Well, you've answered all my questions and given a really good how, what, why. I love the why, and I'm super excited for your program.
We have, very similar whys. So your guys' win is definitely our win, and we're supporting you. 100%.
Is there anything you would like to add to our questions, or you think something important you want to get out there about your program, or do you have sponsors that have come on board that you want to make sure they get recognized?
We're still working on our sponsor list. We've been really busy this week. Lexie's been reaching out to them. We have a lot of paperwork to fill out in order to, there's a lot of back and forth with sponsors. And so we're definitely hustling. It's just the two of us, so it's hard to do it all, but we have exciting ideas. So we're hoping that we can bring everybody together.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely lag time when dealing with.
Oh yeah, we
sponsors.
know.
We're in that boat.
We understand the struggle.
We personally are trying to break the trend of one barrel racer's paying another barrel racer's winnings.
Yeah.
You know how that happens, because now it used to be, oh sweet, I paid my entry fees, and now it's like, but I didn't cover my stalls or the fuel or, and that makes it hard to go weekend after weekend. So the more we can do as supporters of barrel racing is be good advocates for our sport, and
for the people that fund our sport.
Yeah, for the companies that can get something out of having their name associated with barrel racing. Let's make barrel racing a really positive brand. Mm-hmm. So that's our hope. And it sounds like you guys are going to accomplish that with your new incentive, especially up here in the Northwest.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. I'm just so excited about, it's why we started this in the first place. And it's like I said, how the same event kind of spurred both of us. And we were just like, why not us?
Yeah.
What are we doing up here?
We're good enough for Yellowstone.
Yeah. Exactly.
They came up here.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of breeders in the Northwest. And I think that we send a lot of horses to the Midwest. I've had people buy that live in the Midwest. I don't understand. For me, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I feel like there's a lot of really great breeders up here, and there's some really nice horses. They might not be down in Texas right now winning the 1D, but they could win the 1D up here. And there's a different type of horse, I feel like, too, up here. Lindsay, you know this, like the horses up here, I feel like they're able to handle the harder ground, the bigger arenas. And I don't know if that's like something they really try for in the South or in Texas. It's more like kind of bounce your horse off the wall. And
yeah, I don't know. I haven't gone down there and competed like you probably have way more than me. So I don't know, but I have heard, I've heard the ground at Buckeye called crap. And I'm like, my horses love it. Like, what do you guys practice on during the week? It must not be what I practice on, because it's, that ground is great. And I just heard some big trainers be like, I've been warned, don't, cripple your horse there. And I'm like, how? Like, it must be like what we have. I don't know. So
well, we're up here riding in the puddles and the snow and the rock hard ground in the wintertime. And we're out in our pet pastures, trying to find a dry spot to lope our horse on. So, so maybe that's what it is.
I don't know.
And let's face it, mine are turned out right now. We had freezing fog. It got up to 25. They're out there running around. They don't fall down. Like they know how to handle themselves, because the ground, we have all the seasons here, and it was muddy a couple weeks ago, you know what I mean? And, they're pulling shoes off, but they're still sound, they just know how to handle themselves on it. And I think that makes a difference, especially because we have a lot of more wide open areas up here. So they kind of get acclimated, and that's my thought on it.
Rachelle, where are you?
We're in Bend. I'm in Bend, actually.
Oh, okay. Is First Down French there?
He was standing in Terrebonne, and now he's at High Point Performance in Texas.
Oh, well, we got to get him, if he's from the north, we got to get him on our stallion page. He's from the Northwest. So
it's just a place for flyers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he was up here, and then I just moved him in September. I saw that you guys were doing the Northwest thing, and Lexie sent it to me, and I said, well, he's not up here anymore. I don't know if he can be on there.
Well, if he's from here, then we're trying to support breeding just from the Northwest. We want.
Yep. Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah. So he was in California before I got him, and then here. So
yeah, no, that's great. And Lemon Drop, right? Is the first one. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Awesome. She was awesome.
Great. Good for you. We're happy for you. Yeah, that's a Northwest breeding out there winning.
Seriously. Yeah.
She loves rodeo.
Yeah, she does. No, awesome. Okay, well, thank you. Anything else you guys want to say? Go ahead. But I feel like we covered all the bases today.
Well, where can give us your social media handles? Give us your website. Where can people find you and find more information about you and learn about your program?
So it's Top Shelf Breeders, and our Facebook and our website. You can type that in. It's topshelfbreeders.com is the website. All the information's on there. You guys can email, or anyone can message us on Facebook, and our Facebook is the same. It's Top Shelf Breeders.
And we're a message is one of you replying.
Yes.
Cool.
Which is great. Awesome. Yeah.
Is there anything?
And then we appreciate you taking the time today to do this also, because we are trying to get our name out there along with you guys, so we can support one another. I think it's great.
Yeah, no,
it's like I said, our win is your win and your win is our win. And we have the same goal in mind. So anything we can do.
Yeah, we want to collaborate. We want to shine some light, get some notoriety up here, because
it's been missing for a long time.
It has. So that's kind of our mission. You're doing way more than us. You're putting on the, getting the big money, talking to the sponsors, talking to stallion owners, mare owners. Oh my goodness, Reno. I know they're difficult because a lot of places start there and then go elsewhere. So kudos to you guys, because it is a great facility. But we want to be the people doing the podcast, because we know you don't have time. So thank you so much for agreeing to this. I think it's totally the universe working in our favor that you are our first guests, and you are also incentive founders. So that's awesome.
And that we chose to do this at the same time. I think that's really cool. So thank you so much.
Thank you for trying to make a change.
Thank you for listening to the Upper Left Barrel Racing podcast. Make sure you go check out our website at wsbri.org. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at WA State BRI. And please leave a review on this episode. It helps us out a lot.